Murder, She Watched contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Murder, She Watched is for entertainment purposes only. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Murder, She Watched, the podcast where we solve murders from our couch. My name is Amy Archer. I'm your host. And today I'm here with couch detective Karen. Hello, Karen.
Hey.
So good
How
to
are
see
you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're in a very sunny locale, and I'm in like 3 feet of snow.
I was just going to ask you how you're faring during the storm. And apparently you have quite a large number to report.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And, it's fine. We're used to it. Actually, it's interesting because they said we haven't had a storm this big in 10 years. And when I was growing up, it felt like it happened a lot more frequently.
Do you want to let everybody in on the amount of snow that's there at your house in Northeast
25
Pennsylvania?
inches. 25 inches. Yeah. Like wow. Timmy pulled aside the curtain of the doors for the deck, and it's like up halfway to the doors. Like, it's insane. It's an insane amount.
Wow.
How much snow do you have there? 0.
I have 0 here, but I do know that at my house in New York,
it's waiting for you.
14 or 15 inches of snow are waiting for me, and I'm headed back up later this week. So yeah. Wow. But I mean, 2 feet of snow, we're talking that's another level.
Yeah. Yeah. So today, guys, we're talking about Handsome Devil Charming Killer, and it's on Paramount Plus 2026. What are your overall thoughts on this documentary?
Again, I feel this could have been not 3 episodes.
Right?
I think they could have done it in 2 for sure.
They could have done it in 1, Karen. This could have been a 48 hours.
Yeah, it could have.
And there probably is a Dateline or 48 hours on this. Like, we didn't need a deep exploration of how fucking nuts this guy is.
Well, now that you say that, but what's interesting is in these 3 episodes, which encompass, let's say a little less than an hour each, so roughly 3 hours, we didn't hear anything about why he's nuts, other than they're making reference to some issue with his brain or possibly a mental health issue or diagnosis that they never really got around to. So the whole idea that he was out of his mind and was going to keep doing this and was on a rampage, but then they never connected the dots as to if that's really what's going on and that's really the crux of what we're doing, then let's get to the crux of what we're doing, because we learned a lot about the women that were victims, which I was very happy about.
Me too.
And we learned a lot about the general investigation, but they didn't really give us if there's really something wrong with his brain, if he really had so I found out he's had TBIs, concussions, things that would cause you to change, plus the change in his demeanor when they said he found out he was adopted. So that all goes into how we got here. So let's get there. And they completely dropped the ball on it. Yeah,
it was really weird. Now that you mention it, I don't even think they had like a therapist talk about it to the camera, right? They had somebody on the stand,
right?
But they never had like somebody in a confessional saying, here's what's going on. Like there was no.
Yeah, nobody was in a talking head saying, okay, so in these cases, sometimes what we'll rely on is in the DSM-5, it will say this about this particular mental health issue. I agree with you that they didn't have anybody there to give us anything substantive that we could put our teeth into about why he's like this, other than he was put up for adoption. And it sounds like that was the right thing for him.
Yes.
Sounds like, well, at least from what we heard over the phone from his mom, sounds like he didn't have any issues until he found that out. But then we didn't find anything else out. And then we're just supposed to believe that just because he tatted his face up, that in and of itself equals crazy. So I have a lot to say about his last team of lawyers.
I think what they were going for here is this is going to be a story about how women can be attracted to trash men, and like the phenomenon, and we see it a little with Luigi Mangione too, right? Like this little bit of like, and I come from an area where we had Hugo Zelensky. I don't know if you know that name, but Hugo Zelensky was a very famous murderer, escaped prison in my area, and all the women were like, "Oh my God, Hugo Zielinski! Like we love him, we love him, we love him." So I've seen this.
Sounds exciting.
It's
Kind of.
wild to me. And so I think that's what they wanted to do. And if that's what they wanted to do, then it needed to be crafted differently. Like we should have met Allie first and had her talk about this relationship with him, and then kind of like
Right.
it just wasn't structured
Yeah.
well.
Well, if you're calling it Handsome Devil, like
Yeah.
that's your hook to get us in.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Start with all that. And I must have written 5 or 6 times, we're in Love During Lockup. We're in a Ludlow
Yes.
episode
Yes.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't a cohesive documentary
No,
or set of
and
episodes.
the
Like
production
they didn't
was
get to what they set out to achieve.
I
don't think.
100% agree. And the production was janky. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. That song, if I ever hear that song again, it'll be too soon. The song they play, and somebody commented in the Couch Detectives Facebook group
What they
that
said.
the music was too loud and it was distracting, and it felt like it cheapened it because it was clearly like I tried to research what this song was. I don't know if it's stock music that they bought.
I'll have
I
to
don't
go back and
know.
Shazam it.
I don't know. I tried to Shazam it. My Shazam wasn't picking it up, but
Maybe it's, what do they call it? Open.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I'll think of it. Menopause brain.
But it was, and then they didn't have proper chirons, which drives me absolutely insane.
Okay.
And that is a hallmark of.
Tell me about that. I didn't notice that.
Like the chiron is when the name pops up
No,
and
I know that,
stays
yeah.
there for a couple minutes.
Okay.
And so like I could write it down, I can understand who it is. And then like a good documentary will put that chiron up every once in a while. You don't have to do it every time the person comes back. But like if they haven't come back in a while, give us the chiron.
Okay.
And they weren't doing that. And that is the hallmark of these news magazines like Dateline, 48 Hours, 2020. They don't usually tend to use chirons a lot. So I looked it up, and the guy who produced this was somebody who produced like 48 Hours for a long time or something like that. And it kind of had that feel.
Well, it's funny that you say the girlfriend, the Love During Lockup person that thought she was in it for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
I still don't know her name. What is her name?
Allie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did hear her name when she got called out with every other girlfriend, which was classic.
That
was amazing.
A brilliant move. Brilliant.
We'll get there.
Yeah. All right. So we start in Fort Myers, Florida. So Fort Myers on the Bay side, correct?
It's
on the
West
Gulf
Coast.
side, I mean.
It's on the Gulf of America.
Excuse you.
Mexico.
Yes. And it's south of Clearwater, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is directly across from Fort Lauderdale. So literally Fort Lauderdale, that's called Alligator Alley, that goes from east to west. So
it's a beautiful area.
It's the area where Naples, Sanibel, Captiva, that area.
Yeah.
Very nice area.
So it's October 6, 2019, and we meet Mila Montanez. She is Wade Wilson's girlfriend.
Yep.
And she says Wade was very clean cut, very handsome, tall, hot. I'm like, clean cut. He's covered in tattoos, which I like tattoos. So I'm not here to admonish that, but like I don't associate being covered in tattoos with being clean cut. I feel like clean cut means something different. Maybe
I don't think he had them when she met him.
Not on his face, no.
Right.
But
right.
he
Not
had
on his
them
face.
on his body. They were going to the Buddha that night, which is a popular bar. Do you know it?
No, I don't know the West Coast really at all.
Okay.
But it looked really fun. And as soon as they said it, I was like, Buddha bar, yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Like I can see the attraction there for sure.
Yep. And Amy, Mila's friend, bumped into them, and she's like, "Oh," Mila's like, "This is my boyfriend," and Amy's immediately like, "No."
Didn't she say immediately that everything in her, like her hackles and her gut and her everything went up immediately, meeting him minute one?
Yeah. So let's get this out of the way, Karen.
Yes.
This guy is hot.
He's so hot.
But I will say this. I would never be attracted to him because he's too scary. It's like the dog that caught the car. Like I would, from afar in my 20s, be like, I would not be attracted to this man now. But in my 20s, I would have been all over this. And the minute like he was scary, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm out. Like it would be too much for me. He's scary.
I wonder how scary he was in the beginning because it seems like he's good at love bombing
Yeah.
from what they were saying. So I'm wondering how scary he was.
Well, you heard Mila saying he would talk about murdering people all the time.
Yeah. So what's interesting is I went back and I looked into that battery charge,
Yeah.
not the one that's the day that's in
The one
that's
in the shower that she was talking about?
the one that's before that. So I went back and looked that up and it was from June. So that was in June and he tied her up, blindfolded her, took her onto a boat, anally assaulted her, and was arrested. And then she dropped the charges in July.
Wow. Yikes.
So a lot of her survivor guilt is
that she picked him. She dropped the charges and picked him
dropped the
up.
charges, and then she went right back with him. I read the good thing about Florida's court system is every clerk of court is wide open. You can read anything, everything. I know all 14 jurors' names. Everything is there. So everything she said that happened, it's so horrific. And the idea that she went back with him, I get I don't want to prosecute. That's unfortunately very common.
Yeah.
And the only way that they prosecute, like she can say all she wants, I don't want to prosecute. And then if the state has enough other evidence to, if they can say, oh, we have eyewitnesses or we've got different other types of evidence, they could still prosecute him, but it was all her word against his.
But here's what I wanted to say to her, and correct me if I'm wrong. When you know, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but she felt very guilty.
Yes.
Girl, even if you press charges, he wasn't going away for 30 years. Like on a DV charge, what would he have done?
No, he would have more than likely been out in October.
Yeah.
He would have been out in October.
Yeah. So like this was bound to happen. This was in this guy, no matter what Mila did or not.
So the idea that her friend hadn't met him and the first time she meets him had that feeling is just like,
well, and then to lay on the good first impression, he steals Mila's car to go looking for drugs. And Amy, again, just meeting him for the first time, is like, girl, he
isn't
stole
that
your
your car?
And she's like, oh, this is just what he does. So the next morning, Mila says he's blown up her phone, and it's very like, I need you. You know, something's happened. I need to talk to you. And she records him, and he's saying like, I have a problem. And then she said he would do this. And this is what I mean about him being scary. He would do this aggressive thing where he would be like, I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. And then I love you. I love, like, that would scare me. That would scare me. So she has a spa down the street, and he shows up there and he beats the shit out of her in the parking lot. And it's tough.
He was going to kill her.
He was going to kill her. I witnessed something like this happen to me once when I was young and I worked at McDonald's. My manager had a son who was he was dealing with a lot of problems. He had addiction, He showed up the one day and pulled her out the back door and beat the shit out of her in the parking lot while we were all there. And it was so, and I say this because for people who are even just having to witness this, not only is it so horrific for the person being abused, but like even the people standing around, like it's something that still haunts me. You know, I'm 48 years old. That happened when I was like 15. I still remember it like yesterday. So like, it's just this kind of raw violence out there. And he didn't give a shit. It was the middle. I'm talking about Wade now. It's the middle of the day. He's beating her up in front of people.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. That tells you everything you need to know about this guy.
What I thought was funny was when they show the footage of her friend talking to the police, she just reminded me of a combination of Amber and Puppy from Lalo.
Yeah.
Like she had that look about her.
Yes.
They both looked kind of rough back then. And I don't know, what's changed in either of their lives, but it was just watching them just be out of, like, she's standing there just holding herself, like bleeding, like he just came, attacked me and left.
I know. She was like stunned.
Yeah.
And Mila talks about this later because they try to use it to discredit her on the stand that, she's on drugs too. She's using coke when she's out at a party or whatever, So like, I get the sense from Mila that she's never really had a man treat her well.
Right.
And that's kind of heartbreaking. Like,
Yes.
she thinks this is love.
Yes.
That's really sad.
Well, don't we say, ladies, raise your standards and be your own Prince Charming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amy calls 911 and this guy's like, he's punching her, he's biting her.
Yeah.
They lived together. She said she thought he was the one. She could not imagine things going so south. So basically, all you need to know in episode 1 is they're trying to get him, they can't get him, right? And then eventually they end up catching him because a man calls 911 and he's like, there is this lunatic in my business. It's like a graphics place. He's like, I barely know this guy. It's a friend of a friend.
Right.
He's here.
Like
He doesn't have,
bleeding.
he doesn't have a shirt on. He's bleeding. He's saying he killed women. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So he's not there, but they end up finding the car that he arrived in. It's not Mila's car anymore. This is a different car.
Right.
And they run the tag, and the car belongs to Christine Melton. She is 35 years old. She was a waitress. She had just moved to Florida from Illinois. They break into the car, and there's blood all over the place.
Well, but before that, we have to talk about how the police have him and they want to talk to him, and he won't get out of the car.
No.
He won't.
This guy thinks he can charm his way out of anything. With men, with women, everything.
It reminded me in Perfect Neighbor, the woman that shot the kid in her cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
When they said, we're arresting you for murder. We need you to stand up right now.
And she wouldn't.
Handcuffed her. She goes, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to stand up right now and be handcuffed. No, I'm not doing that. And this was the same thing. And he's manipulating them. Like, I promise I'll be good. I'll be good. I promise. But what was interesting is the officer talking to him is saying, as soon as my partner gets here, because they knew they're dealing with, as it is, taking somebody into custody is dangerous in and of itself for them. So they already know they're dealing with some type of person that's not right in their mind at the moment.
Yeah.
And then they finally get him and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. No, I'll be good. I promise. I'm just going to, and then, which I think is the right policy, that they don't chase. They don't pursue people.
Yeah. Cause this guy, the officer immediately clocked. This guy he's a loose cannon. Like, I don't know what can happen here. And he did absolutely the right thing. So we see Trish Bell. She is the lead detective, and she figures out that Christine and her best friend had been at the Buddha bar. They left the bar together. So they go back to Christine's house. The friend leaves Christine and Wade alone. So they go knocking on Christine's door, and they find her body inside. She'd been choked, and Trish says she had been sexually assaulted
After she was killed.
Yeah. She was wrapped up in blankets. It's not good. It's what he did to these women. He is a disgusting human being.
Yes. And I think we can definitely put him in the category of world's dumbest criminals.
100%.
They catch him with, okay, well, now he's calling Mila from a phone that's not his. So the police are like, whose phone is that? Oh, and then we have the name. I mean, I was very impressed with their work. I was very impressed with the detective I was on a homicide case, and now I got assigned to a missing persons case when we go on to Diana.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way that they all collaborated and worked together. I mean, I was very impressed with the police and the prosecution. It was pretty flawless.
Yeah, I agree. We see Mila being questioned. She discloses that Wade had a long criminal past and that he beat her up. And she talks about him being in jail for the battery charge and her dropping the charges. And she admits, I thought I could fix him.
She's a fix-a-hoe.
And I have a note here. That this is what happens when you don't outgrow your trash man obsession in your early 20s.
Okay.
You move into like a period where it gets real and scary then.
Yeah.
And she describes him looking like he is possessed at times. And he talked about killing people all the time. And then she says, and this tells you everything you need to know about this poor woman's dating history. She's talking about him telling her that he's going to kill people. And she goes, I just thought he was bullshitting like normal guys do.
Yeah. So there's her standard. There's her bar.
Red flag. She's really distraught when she finds out that he killed somebody, and she says, he told me that he killed people before, gutted somebody, like, in their stomach. She says he was in a gay relationship and killed that man too. So, like, she didn't know what was bullshit and what isn't, but I'm like, I
So
don't want somebody bullshitting me about murder.
So I looked up Monroe County is the county where in the Keys where she was making reference to. I looked him up down there, and he had a 2019. So all of this happened in 2019. So that part of 2019, he got arrested for basically driving while his license was suspended, and then it was in someone else's car, and he gave a completely different ID to the police. And then they, in 1 second, went, "This isn't you," and then they charged him with a misdemeanor for that, and he got 6 days time served. So the only thing I could find for him in Monroe County was that thing. So I didn't,
Yeah.
and I looked in some of the surrounding counties to see if I could find that he was charged with anything else. But as far as any other murders, I didn't see anything else. But
Yeah.
he was in the car with a guy in the Keys, and then he gave yet another guy's ID. But again, like there's no thought process from start to finish that, oh, if I call from that phone, they might find out that phone and who it belongs to, which would tie back to me. If I take that,
Yeah.
world's dumbest criminal.
He's the world's dumbest criminal that is born out of arrogance. Because he just thinks, and he kind of says this later, like, I just use my good looks and charm.
I know.
And this is somebody who's been told that they're good looking their whole lives. Like, it's wild to me. So at the same time that all this is happening, Diane Ruiz's fiance, Scott, calls in to report her missing. This was heartbreaking.
So sad.
And she was walking to work, and they found her purse, but she was nowhere to be found. Nick Jones is the police officer assigned to this missing persons case. I think he's a detective. She's 43. She's a mom. She was a bartender really close by, so she would just walk to work. They don't have her phone, but they are able to pull her phone log, and they see that her phone is calling Mila's phone.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is like he doesn't. It goes to intelligence, but I think more than anything, it goes to arrogance.
Yeah.
That he really just thought, well, I can do what I want, and I'll just talk my way out of it.
Yep. So the timeline then we know is that he left Christine Melton's at 7:10 a.m. He drove to Mila's spa and battered her at 9 a.m. and then picked up Diane Ruiz right after at 9:45. So they're like, this guy's on like a rampage, and we need to get him right now because he's like desperate.
Yeah.
It's scary. So what did you think about his biological father, Steve? Because I kind of liked this guy.
I thought he was very forthright, very forthcoming. I thought he came off really well. Probably people have something to say about him in terms of just his general demeanor, at least some of the part, not the part where he was filmed in court, but the part at home, because it's just a really bad angle with, wearing a tank top and big tats. And he just can't, he had a look that you just gave a general, that's the word I'm looking for. Just not, I don't know if I'm going to believe him. He seems like a tough guy.
Yeah.
Like a rough kind of guy.
Yeah, like you didn't expect him to be as sincere and authentic as he was. Like, especially because he's Wade's father. So you come into it with this preconceived notion. And then, he, by his own admission, he's been in and out of jail a bunch of times. So you're like, okay, is this guy going to do the right thing? Is he going to? But he does.
But his emotional intelligence
is
off the charts. The conversations that he would have with him, like the empathy and getting Wade to have empathy, like, son, those people she's got kids. They need to know. I think any parent, probably you and me included, to turn your own child in would take a lot. Yeah. And the idea that whatever he heard on that phone call, when he's like, he's bragging and he wants me to enjoy it too, he knew what he was hearing, that this isn't going to end with these two women.
Steve was 15 and Wade's mother was 14 when she got pregnant.
Well, and then at trial, he said, I was 14 or 15 and she was a year younger.
Yeah. They did the absolute right thing.
Absolutely.
So And then Steve ended up going away, probably to juvenile detention shortly after, and then he was served with these adoption papers. Steve says Wade was not raised this way. His adopted parents are solid, hardworking people, good people who gave him a good life. And I was glad he said that, because
Yes.
I didn't want this narrative of like, oh, he was adopted, so he's got all this trauma. Like, he was given a good life.
Yes.
So
But apparently when he found out he was adopted was a very bright line in his
yes.
mental health
Yes.
downturn.
Yep. So dad manages to get his address by promising him he would send an Uber. And
Again,
the police go
you're
and get him.
so dumb. It's like the police calling you and saying, "Oh, we have something down here for you to pick up. You've won a prize." Or
Oh, I've
somebody
seen that
turned
many
in,
times.
and then the people
Yes.
show up.
Yep.
He's not the brightest.
No.
On the intelligence scale, he's not the brightest. We saw no proof of that other than, real time, anecdotal
Yeah.
proof that he's not intelligent. I mean, we didn't hear or see anything about an IQ result.
No.
But the dad, I was very impressed with him. Very.
Me too. Me too.
Very.
When they arrest him, we see the body cam of it, and there's a lot of fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I was like, okay. The last thing I would say to a cop who was arresting me for a murder I know I committed would be, fuck you, dude. Like, that goes to his arrogance, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
The way to handle anything, just, pro tip, defense attorney pro tip, you will never, no encounter with the police will ever end in your favor. Just take whatever they're giving you, accept
do what
it,
you got to do.
do what you have to do, get out of the scenario, and then deal with it in court later.
Yeah.
You're never going to have a good experience by mouthing off to a cop.
No.
Or being sarcastic or anything else.
No.
Myself included. If I had to, I roll down the
Mhm.
window. Here's my stuff. I'll take it. Thank
Mhm.
you very much.
Yeah. I agree. So he's being questioned by Trish Bell at this point, and
How hard can I roll my eyes back in my head?
he's literally trying to charm her. He's trying to
Yes.
control the interview, and he thinks
Manipulating.
he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
I wrote in all caps, he's flirting with her.
Mhm.
Like, it's almost like, well, when we're done here, you want to go to the Buddha bar?
Yeah.
And have a
Yeah.
couple drinks?
This guy is
And the same thing he was doing with the police officer earlier. Like, I'll be cool. Can
Yeah.
you change my cuffs from here to here? I'll be good. I promise.
Well, I'm not talking about that. If you want to talk about something, like, you're not in charge here, dude. So
But
then
the arrogance that he really does think he is.
so arrogant. So Trish asks if he knows Christine, and he's like, oh, vaguely, barely, don't know where she is, don't know where she's going, don't know who she is, don't know where she's been. Like, okay, douchebag. I hate this man so much.
Well, so you either do know her or you don't. So
Yeah.
if you don't know her, you don't know her. But if you do know her, then you might have more to say about her.
Yeah.
So
she's so insignificant to him. That's what pissed me off about it. Like, he just treated her like she
nothing.
was yeah. So he denies knowing anything about the death, and they take his DNA, and they end the interview. So now we see them bringing in Wade's dad to see if he'll talk about where Diane is, because Diane's still missing at this point.
Such an amazing conversation.
Yeah, and this is where the dad's like, her baby's crying all over the news for her. Like, her son wants his mother. Like, we got to do the right thing. You got to do. And you could tell Wade probably doesn't kowtow to anybody in his life but his father. There's something about his father
did you find
that cuts through that arrogance.
Yeah. Did you find it interesting that we heard from bio dad and adopted mom?
No, we heard from yeah. You're right. Yes, you're right.
Like,
yes.
So is adoptive dad
we
not
don't know.
his dad figure that bio
know.
dad got back in the picture, which I think is wonderful. And obviously he was integral to this. But I'm finding fault with the documentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like these weird clips of mom, like no talking head with mom. Yeah.
And the bio dad Steve does make reference to bio mom. He says like she's not well right now. Yeah. So
but he did tell him the whole state thinks you're a monster.
Yeah.
The whole state is feeling this way. Yeah. And for the dummies that this guy is, and we've talked about it before. You've talked about it. You're being recorded at the jail. At
Mhm.
all, everything you do,
Mhm.
everything other than maybe in your own cell, but even part of that could be seen from the the
Mhm.
hallway cameras. You're being recorded, and I felt that they were talking about it in an appropriate way.
Mhm.
You knew what they were saying. Like, they
Yeah.
weren't like, "Hey, they're llooking for that blue bag."
Yeah.
Like, I really
Yeah.
appreciated the dad's effort to navigate this conversation that really isn't confidential, because the
Mhm.
rest of the time, Wade's on the phone with anybody. He's
Yeah.
having a party
Yeah.
and just telling everybody everything.
Yeah.
He's
So
something else.
in the meantime, they actually find Diane Ruiz.
Tell them how, Amy.
Some workers who are, like, on break find a bunch of birds.
I wrote down, I go, "Birds save the day again."
Ah, Jesus.
Ah.
Bunch of birds. And, we have that here, like, every once in a while, Timmy will say, like, "Oh, something must be dead around the mountain," because 'cause you'll see a bunch of what are they called? Crows?
Vultures.
Vultures, thank you. You'll see a bunch of them circling.
Yeah.
It's like, "Ugh,
Well,
okay."
so it seemed so see if I can get this right. He didn't tell the dad where she was,
No.
but he knew where she was because he had a picture of it in his cell.
Yeah, he was kinda like, "I know how I got there." So, like,
And I know what I did to her
to
after I
me, it
backed
sounded
over her
like
100 times.
he was kind of saying, like, I would have to start at where I picked her up, and
Well,
then I could navigate there.
again, another manipulation to let me out of here,
Mhm,
take me on a ride, and
mhm.
I'll show
Give
you
me a
that
burger and fries.
I picked her up from that road, and then we went right, left. But all that was a manipulation to get out of custody and to get burger, fries, cigarettes, whatever.
Yeah, he wanted burger and fries, and look, there's nothing I wouldn't do for a burger and fries at times, but this was
Uh,
wild. So, the cops are like, "Yeah, we're not getting you a burger and fries until you tell us some more." So, he ends up just confessing. And he says he lured Diane into the car by pretending to not know where the school was. So he pulls over to this very sweet woman and he's like, "Where's the high school? Can you help me?" And she gets in the fucking car.
I know.
Haven't we watched enough true crime, ladies of a certain age? We know what to do. You don't get in the car.
And she was over 40.
Yeah, she was
So
46, 43,
I wanna
43, I think.
she's just trying to help.
She's just trying to help. She's 43.
Ugh.
She's just trying to help. So he says he claims that she had sex with him, consensual sex. I don't know if I believe that. He says he choked her, pushed her out of the car, and then, guys,
I can't.
yeah, he says he ran her over a bunch of times. Like, I can't. The word he uses, and this is very triggering, so skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this, but he says everything was a smear. And I can't. Mm. So he claims, like I said, they had consensual sex. He said, "I just used my good looks, just like I did with the first girl. And I'm just crazy when I'm on drugs. I just want to kill." Okay. We
And
we
that
do see the
sounds
father
that
kind of saying to him, "Why are you so angry at women?" I liked it.
and it sounds like that's what he was saying to the dad in that phone call. Like, "Yeah, man, I'm crazy. I just killed this girl.
Yeah,
You know how I am. Like, and I'm gonna. I have a feeling he told the dad, I'm going to do it again."
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So episode 2, we meet Alexis Williams. She goes by Allie. They had mutual friends. Very love after lockup. We've seen this kind of connection before where I don't know who these friends are, but they tell her to contact this guy in jail. Like, maybe he's lonely, maybe he needs money on his books. Who knows? So she reaches out to him and they form a relationship. And I wrote, this is some love during lockup shit because she's promising him meals and sex. And there's a lot of like, I want to put a baby in you. Like, it's wild. It's wild.
Because that's the answer to everything is,
Mhm.
yeah.
And she says she was a bigger girl then. And she says he liked that. He liked a girl with a little meat on her bones. And she says he was so charming. It was hard not to fall for him. And Sarah Miller is the assistant DA. And she's like, we had thousands of his phone calls in prison recorded, thousands. And they were mostly women. and everything was sex, 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 sex. Want to put a baby in you? Want to put a baby in you? And Mila even still had contact with him.
Can you?
So we see the phone call with Mila, and it's really interesting because he's like, I want you to wait for me. I want you to wait. And she's like, dude, you are never coming home. What? Why would I wait for you? And she's like, we had everything. Why did you do this? You know, blah, blah, blah. She starts asking him details about the murders, and he gives her very detailed accounts. Dude, you're being recorded.
Again, the brain power.
So Allie says she was convinced that he was innocent because that's what he was telling her. And that's what he was telling a lot of people. And this is what we see on TikTok now. This case is
Yes.
blowing up on TikTok. People are in love with this guy. You know, they call themselves Wade's wives.
Yep.
And they're all like, he's, you know, his father turned him in. He's terrible father. This is, you know, he's the victim here. Like, this is insanity. This is
Yes.
insanity. And Wade kind of leaned into it. He wanted Gucci suits. Allie's buying all this shit for him. And then he starts with the face tattoos. And the first one he gets is the swastika.
Well, he looked real good walking into court in those suits.
He did look good walking
real
into
good.
court in the suits. Yes,
But
I
once
agree.
you start with facial ink,
And once you put a fucking swastika on you, no, I'm out. I'm out.
When we get to his trial, you know, eventually when we get there, I'll tell you my feelings on it. But it took them 5 days, 5 full days to get a jury. 5
to get a jury.
full days of jury selection.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and the one juror that we did see, he's like, people were scared of him.
Yeah.
The way that he would stare everybody down. And,
yeah. His eyes were like black. Did you notice?
Yes. Yes.
So the trial starts and he goes through a bunch of different defense lawyers, it sounds like. They didn't really get into that.
Well, I can tell you the story if you want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the public defender gets appointed and they hang in there for about a year, and then they hit the irreconcilable differences version of criminal defense. Like we've hit an impasse, basically. We have a conflict that can't be resolved. Yeah. My guess is that with this entire big witness list of people, there was somebody on there that had been represented by the PD's office before. Okay. And if that's the case, then you can't, the whole office has to conflict off. So the next 2 lawyers that they appointed both accepted, and then within like a week to 10 days or so, immediately went, I can't do this. Like one of them was in Miami and said, I don't take cases that are out of my county. Okay. The 4th attorney hung in there for about 11 months. Again, then cited differences like can't with my client, which then led us to the esteemed team of the 5th set of lawyers of who we saw throughout the trial. Okay.
So the trial starts and the defense waives their opening statement.
Okay. All right. I got a lot to say about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So when they reserve their opening, you never do that because the jurors want something.
Yes.
So I wrote like a mini thing saying, so I can do it for you. So what we find out eventually is that all they want the jurors to come back with is 2nd-degree murder, which takes the death penalty off the table. So if that's your goal, then you go to your client and say, our goal is to keep you out of Old Sparky, out of the electric chair. This is going to be our theory. We're going to say, yes, you killed them, but it was with the language that applies to 2nd-degree murder. It wasn't premeditated, et cetera. And that's what you tell the jury. And you're like, we're not going to say he didn't do it. We're not going to point the finger at someone else, but we do have a defense. And here's what it is. So all you'd have to say is, hi, I'm Karen. It's my pleasure. It's my honor to represent Mr. Wilson. And the state is going to be telling you many, many things. And what we're just asking you is to keep an open mind to the end. So even if you got nothing, like you literally have nothing.
Yeah. You at least introduce yourself, the case.
Yeah. We just want you to keep an open mind until you've heard all the evidence. And we want to remind you that the burden of proof is on the state. And they're the ones that have to prove this case to you. And we just really want you to give Mr. Wilson a fair trial. So we really appreciate the time that you're devoting to this. We know it's not easy to be away from your family. Like anything you can to just say, plop down. We're here. They have the burden. We really just want you to listen. Thank you. And
Yeah.
that's good enough. Or
Yeah.
if they knew what they wanted to do, then you could stand up and say, listen, our client's not a perfect person. We're not going to pretend he didn't
Our
kill this
client's kind of a
woman.
monster, Loki.
But what you're going to find out throughout this, based on these, and you don't want to promise things that you can't
Mm-hmm.
prove. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
say, well, we're going to bring in 10 nuns that say
Sure.
something happened.
Sure.
But if you already know, you would say you're going to hear from mental health professionals, you're going to hear from medical records, you're going to get toxicology people that are going to you're not proving anything, but we're going to show you that the people's argument that this is premeditated, not so fast, because what we believe is the right verdict here is second degree murder. This was according to the line. That's all you have to say. But when you don't say anything,
right.
The only
Silence speaks volumes.
The only time you do that is if you don't have a jury, you're doing a bench trial, so it's just the judge.
Yeah.
And the judge has the paperwork in front of them and has heard enough about the case going along. They're like, I've had that happen. We know what's up. Let's start the testimony.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But really bad, just very bad decision.
One of my greatest fears is being wrongfully imprisoned. I used to think I would hire Alan Jackson immediately if I was charged with the crime, but now I'm thinking I might need you.
Happy to do it. One of my dream jobs, I don't know if I'll ever achieve it, is to work for the Innocence Project.
Oh, yeah.
For people that are factually innocent.
But not the LA Innocence Project that's trying to get Scott Peterson off. No.
Not that. No. The real one that's the one that's out of New York that deals with factual innocence.
So Mila testifies against him, and she says, I wavered about doing this, but the prosecution told me, you are the only voice for those dead women. You are the only one who survived. You have to speak for Diane and Christine. And she describes in great detail the beating that he gave her. And I wrote, this woman is really fucking brave.
Because and she did great.
She did great because not only is she staring at this very scary man who's been her abuser for, a long time now, and she has no idea, like, if this goes south and there's a mistrial or something, she's in great danger. Yes. But also, like, she's facing so much backlash on the internet. Yes. This is ridiculous. So the defense tries to discredit her by pointing out she was on cocaine. She's like, yeah, I was on cocaine. Didn't change anything. Wasn't on cocaine at 9:00 in the morning when he beat me up. She gets death threats online. Like, this is crazy. She couldn't go to work for like 6 weeks. This was crazy.
So he files a lot of things throughout the time, because this happened in 2019. He didn't go to trial until 2024. Mm-hmm. He benefited from COVID. And he loved every minute of it. Mm-hmm. He loved every minute of it because he was just running the show in the local jail. He wasn't in the prison. Okay, so he's having a good old time the whole time he was there. And he would file pro se, meaning himself, even though he has lawyers, he would file pro se handwritten things to the judge over and over and over again, just filling up the court's thing. And the judge every time has to go, I don't accept anything that's written from a defense person that's represented by counsel. It's very official. Yeah. But he would just write things in. And he had a whole separate thing that I think TikTok believed, that she was running an entire prostitution ring out of that spa that she owned. And he got all these people writing in to denigrate her, that she was really the criminal because she was the one that was running this whole ring, and that that some law enforcement was involved and she never got charged with things, and that she's the one that's doing all this.
I don't often say this. This man is not redeemable. Like, we can't fix it. We can't fix this. This is broken beyond repair. There's something broken here.
So when 2020, he got arrested for escape. Because he tried to escape from the local jail. He messed with the window and they moved a stool, and he had one of the jail he's awaiting pretrial. So it's the local. So he has a roommate, and I guess the person in the vicinity, because of course he talked about it and said, I'm going to escape tonight.
Of course.
And then somebody reported it, and he strung that out. He got, because that's a felony. So it was an escape charge and something else, but escape and a battery charge. Oh, because he messed with the window, or criminal mischief for damaging the window. He strung that out. The same lawyers represented him the whole time. And finally, after he was convicted of the murders, they dropped those charges. But he put everybody through the paces on that too, like depositions. And he
Oh
would
my
write in,
God.
and all the things that he would write in about that had to do with Mila and her spa. And she's running this ring, and the person that reported me is somebody that she was in this ring with.
Wow.
Scumbag. Total scumbag. Yeah.
So he's leaning into the whole Wade Wilson Deadpool killer thing.
Completely.
And
Completely.
Allie's one of these people who got his name tattooed on her. Allie, the girlfriend, guys, don't forget. Yeah. Now he's getting, like I said, the face tattoos are getting more and more and more. He gets that smile on his face that kind of looks like the Joker.
Well, did you love
that? Tim Burton.
Did you love that his lawyers asked for makeup?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's granted, but then the makeup doesn't work. And then they went, oh, well, no worries.
Yeah.
And I can go either way on that, because there's case law that's, you have to, even though everybody knows you're in custody, you are not to be restrained in court for the most part. You're able to wear clothes that aren't jail clothes.
Sure.
And so it becomes, well, why do we have to cover up your tattoo? Those are your tattoos. Yeah. That's not something that the jail put on you.
Correct.
So it was interesting that it even made it
in jail.
Yes. Yes. So he's doing he's doing poke and stick jail tattoos on his face.
On your face.
Yes. Well, we see how he looks now. So,
wow. So Dr. Casey Jordan is a criminologist and behavioral analyst. And she tells us that there is a sense of safety and control in loving someone in prison, and the notoriety of his crimes also plays into it. Girl, we watch a lot of Love After Lockup. You don't need to tell us what's going on here. We know it all. We've been down this road. We have psychologically analyzed all of this.
And Seinfeld, like George.
Yes.
Like the girlfriend that couldn't pop in.
Yep. Not the pop in.
We've been there and visited it many times.
He also has all these women putting money on his books, and we hear all the phone calls. And it's like, hey, Breezy, can you give me $25 for the good mac and cheese? Like, it's all crazy.
Yeah, but who else does he have besides Wade's wives? Who else does he have calling in and giving him things?
Mila?
No, men.
Oh, men. Yeah, because at some point Mila's calling in. I didn't know if she was giving him things. Okay.
Well, yeah, she can't quit him.
Men,
and then the
women.
men like, yeah, bro, I'll give you 12. Oh, you need $12 for a pizza? I'll give you 24. I mean, it's
crazy.
Awful.
So he has pictures on his wall, like you alluded to before, in his cell, and one of them is the field where he dumped, I shouldn't say dropped, Diane Ruiz. Her fiance testifies. He's devastated. It's heartbreaking. Like, it's really hard to watch. And really he's crying, and he says the last text he can't even talk about it. And the last text she had sent him was like, you didn't give me a goodbye kiss. Like, just kidding. But like, he has to live with that now.
And then they ask him, well, did you give her one? He's like, of course. And he's crying. He's so sweet.
So Allie says, Allie, girl, I liked how possessive and dominant he was. And he was telling me he was wrongfully incarcerated. And, I was going to marry him. I thought if he could do the 10 to 15, I'd marry him. Okay.
Who does that? Sorry, I just snorted. But who just puts your life on hold?
It's a long fucking time.
Gosh.
So the state is seeking the death penalty, and his father testifies against him willingly.
Yep.
I wrote, wow, go dad. Dad gets death threats. The TikTok is all over hating this dad. And I get the vibe the dad doesn't give a fuck what you think about him.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What did you think about the Facebook fundraisers for him?
Oh my God. Well, after he's convicted, after he's given the death penalty, then, you'll see on the clerk of court, it'll say like verdict sheet filed, and then it goes on a little bit. And then you start seeing correspondence to the court. So these and I clicked on the first few, and they're letters from women to the judge and saying, I'm begging you not to do this. So then there's one from this woman her name's Marion Worth, and their website is justice4wade@yahoo.com. And you just go, of course it's that.
Mhm.
But the letters over and over and over, Amy, hundreds of them to the judge saying, you didn't hear the whole story. He didn't get a fair trial. We didn't hear anything medical. We didn't know, they didn't learn about his brain. They didn't learn about his concussion at soccer. This and the level of what was in the zeitgeist that people were believing is unreal.
Can you guys, if you're listening who are doing this, can you take that energy and direct it at, like, I don't know, like, let's release the Epstein files, like something else. Can we put it
Yes.
somewhere else?
Yeah,
Like,
let's get a letter. Let's
all,
get a letter writing campaign that will
let's
to
get,
something good.
yeah, let's get all school children free lunch. Let's put our letter writing there. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, and some of them are very professionally handwritten. Some of them quote statutory language, and others are just on notebook paper, like, regular spiral notebook paper. I'm begging you not to give him the death penalty. And meanwhile, every time the judge has to go, I received correspondence. I didn't read it according to Florida statute, such and such. It's here for display. It's disgusting.
I have an idea for these people. Why don't you start writing to Kohl's and demand that they let you use the gift card with your 30% coupon? There you go. Send all your letters over there.
You can't
I
use
don't
the
know what else
coupon with
to
a
tell you.
gift card?
No,
Oh.
no, because you have to use your charge.
Oh. Okay, there's something we can all get behind.
I'm just trying to think of something I
Yeah.
could get on the same page with these people with. There's probably not much common ground between us, but maybe they can get on this.
Yeah,
So-
it was really something.
Or you know what? Try to get Eric Menendez a little parole hearing. He can use a little parole hearing. Give him one.
Mhm.
Not Lyle, Eric. Okay. So episode 3, I can't with this theme song is what I have written here. Also, I want to make a note. I skipped this and it's important. With the Facebook fundraisers, Wade he's not allowed to set them up himself. So these women are doing it for him. There are people making $3,000 and $4,000 donations.
I saw that. And meanwhile, when there's one in my community, somebody lost their father, or they're doing,
Somebody loses their home to a fire.
100, 75, 50.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars to someone that you don't know
This
who's convicted of
dickbag
murdering.
does not need it. What he did to these women is horrendous.
Well, that's when he had a fat canteen, according to his dad.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the dad's like, I don't know what people. Yeah, I'm not here to tell you what to spend your money on, but not my son.
Well, the other thing going on with then was he was trafficking methamphetamine and amphetamines into the jail. He got charged with that, and that was in 2023. And that arrest report reads like a love after lockup. It was Wade Wilson, who was in cell with so-and-so, who was a confidential informant. A lot of it's redacted.
He's not able to be rehabilitated, right?
He was running a whole scheme of selling Suboxone strips, having people so they would drop off to the corner of the jail building, which is on video. And so he got charged with trafficking and conspiracy to traffic methamphetamine. That one, he got a 12-year sentence with a 7-year minimum mandatory that's running concurrent with his murders, with his death penalty sentence, and got fined $50,000. But this is also what's going on. But so think about how much money he was making before he got caught on that.
And is this where this Bonnie Wiggins comes into it? Because Bonnie Wiggins was someone who smuggled drugs in for him and is now arrested. She's in jail now. So there goes her life.
Yes.
So now we're only on day 2 of the trial. I wrote, oh my God, how are we only on day 2?
Because the trial's only day 2. The trial's 2 days, Amy.
Okay. All right.
Again, it's kind of, remember when I was telling you how Aileen Warnis's trial wasn't long enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to give you a couple dates here. Sorry.
It seems pretty open and close to me. Like, dude is admitting on tape that he did all this.
They took 5 days to pick a jury.
Mhm.
They started the trial on June 10th, and they had a verdict on June 12th. 2 days.
How
2
long
days.
did the jury deliberate?
An hour. Wow. 2 days. I mean, that's 2 days, not for the jury selection. So the state makes an opening. He reserved. State goes through all their witnesses.
Yeah.
And then I don't think they called anybody. He said, I'm not testifying. I will say he made the right decision there.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And then they did whatever closing arguments, but 2 days for a death penalty case. 2 days.
So we meet Jumpsuit Pablo.
Yep.
He is a TikToker, listen to me, TikToker who is covering the case. And he's like, I'm putting up these videos. I'm getting like 20 million views on them. And he's like, these women just think he's this dreamy guy who's misunderstood. But Pablo says, you ladies all need to hear his words. Like, listen to what is coming out of his mouth. So they do play his confession in the courtroom. And Allie's like, huh, I wonder if he is actually a murderer. Okay.
She's something else.
In a rare move, I've never seen this before. You've probably seen it before, but I never have. They read the names of the women who are sending him money and who he's communicating with. And
first of all, I'm not sure how that's relevant, how that made it in, because that seems to be not really tangential to, it's a little tangential to what's going on.
The only thing I could think of is was he telling them things of the crime? So they were like, he admitted in this phone call to this person and da-da-da-da-da. But I think this was brilliant because they were trying to get their arms around the public sentiment here. So like,
and then all of them are finding out and like, wait, what?
Yeah. So they're like, oh my God. Allie's like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. He's found guilty. People are arguing that his lawyers were terrible and it wasn't a fair trial.
Mm-hmm.
For sentencing, they look at aggravating and mitigating circumstances. And this is where Candy, his adopted mother, calls in to the documentary. I don't understand what this was. She seems lovely. She's like, he was our little miracle that we waited for and we loved him and he played sports and he was a good student and he was happy. He was never in trouble. And she says, but when he was 15 or 16, his biological mother got in contact with him and he started to have a little bit of an identity crisis. And that's when he started his jail journey.
And that leads me to believe that they never told him he was adopted.
Maybe.
That's the impression I got.
Maybe. So we even meet a high school girlfriend of him and I appreciate her because she's like, he was decent. I wouldn't say good.
Yeah.
But decent. Yeah. So the defense tries to argue that he was born to a drug addicted mother and was a ticking time bomb when he would have drugs in his system. Diane Ruiz's son testifies. It's heartbreaking. There is a psychologist that testifies and says he has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, among other things. And he claims that he was diagnosed young with bipolar and wasn't consistent with his meds, but the ADA says there's no paperwork to support this at all. Like they couldn't find these medical records anywhere.
Right.
So we don't know if that ever happened. The doctor basically says he has a brain impairment and this narrative starts to emerge that he had this terrible childhood, but the prosecution is like, I know this expert. I'm going to rip him apart. And she completely discredits him by saying, didn't you use the same judgment for like the last 115 cases that you testified for? And he's basically like, yeah, I did. So
the only thing I can say about that is he's never going to be a witness for the prosecution. Mm-hmm. The prosecution would never need to necessarily call him unless they were calling him to rebut a defense doctor's position. Right. So I don't really have a problem with him being somebody that only testifies for the defense.
Yeah.
My problem with him was more, did you actually get a comprehensive, were you actually able to testify to something comprehensive or not? What did you actually do? Because I was able to see that the penalty phase was one full day on June 20th. Then the first hour of the morning was the people or the state. And then the defense took 1 hour before lunch and then rested at 3:30. So they spent 4.5 hours total on their mitigation, including that doctor. Mm-hmm. And I just, what did he testify to? And I don't know how, if your whole case is he didn't have the right brain power or mental defect, whatever it was that impacted his behavior, then we've got to put on a case and explain that to them. Like they were going to do with John Hinckley and with Mark David Chapman. They were going to have doctors come in
Yes.
and say he was in a schizoaffective disorder and he had a break, not whatnot. But here, what did they? It seemed like he didn't even know him. It seemed like he had read reports about him.
And the attorneys just stand up and kind of are like, he's out of his mind. I mean, look at his face. Who gets those tattoos? Am I right? Like, this is a defense. It's wild to me.
The way that you do that is, ladies and gentlemen, you've been sitting here. We really appreciate your attention this whole time. And since you've been able to see my client and we've, it's been spoken about, but I think the elephant in the room is that he has many facial tattoos that a lot of people find alarming. And you can never say, it's called the golden rule. Like you can't say, how would you feel if you tattooed? You can't make them, you can't put them in that position, but you can say something like, his face is even showing you a roadmap of how his mental health.
It's a reflection of what's going on inside.
Has been breaking down. So it's almost that he's painted you on his face to see every day you've been looking at him. And this has happened since he's been in custody. This isn't something that was there before. I mean, there's ways to say it other than like, what the fuck is wrong with somebody that would do that?
I know.
These lawyers,
like, this is wild.
Look, they had a cohesive idea. We just got to get them to say not first degree murder. Okay. So let's do it.
Yeah. This was a mess.
This was a mess. Do it. And then in looking at the stuff that's on the clerk's website, they had, motions granted for money for mental health experts and getting mental health records. Again, I don't have the full trial transcript. I can't tell you, but they do keep timestamps, believe it or not, of the state rested at 10:41, defense started at 11. Then so you're seeing how much actual time was devoted to this. I don't know how you get through a guilt phase in 2 days and 1.5 days on a penalty phase, and then somebody's going to death. Whether he deserves it or not.
Right. It's just very fast.
It's very fast. Yeah. And he's filed ineffective assistance of counsel motions. I mean, that goes with it. I mean, the death cases in Florida are automatically appealed to the Florida Supreme Court. Like they skip the initial appellate level and they just go right up. And one of his arguments is going to be, I didn't have effective counsel.
Yeah. When your defense attorney standing up saying, look at how crazy my client is, there's a problem.
When you're saying it in that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like the jurors know. They know. Right. So you got to find out. Yeah.
You just say, like, he's been showing you every day what's going on. And what's going on the inside is now being reflected on the outside because most rational people wouldn't go to that length. I mean, you could take it as far as you could without getting objected to.
Yep. Yeah. So the verdict is he gets the death penalty. It's 9-3 for Christine and 10-2 for Diane. Yep. And he's currently on death row and he looks like a completely different person because guess what? Wade Wilson likes the candy.
He likes candy.
And his teeth are falling out. I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. He's lost his figure. Let's just say that. He thinks people are trying to poison him. He's using drugs. He's on meth. He's got K2 in there. Dad says, I did everything I could for my child and it hurts, but I can't fix it. It is what it is.
What I thought was very strange is being held pre-trial, you're in the county jail and it looks like it looks on TV, like on 60 Days In or Love After Lockup. It's, it's somewhat of a collaborative or whatever there's an environment.
Yeah.
Death row is not supposed to be that way.
Right.
So when he got to death row and it looks like in so many of the pictures, he's having a blast. It doesn't look like he's in his cell. It should be
solitary, right?
Yeah. It just looks to me to be very, not fun, but it looks like there's like a lot of fun things going on there that it doesn't look, he looks like he's having a great time.
I agree. Allie burned his letters and is trying to move on, but she says the internet is destroying her and this documentary is not going to help. Mila talks about being suicidal because of the social media pushback. And then we learned somebody burned down her spa, but then it was just a electrical accident or something.
Yeah.
But I think it was interesting to include that in the documentary, but I see why they did, just to kind of show that her first instinct was, oh my God, somebody's trying to burn my place down.
Yeah.
And he is appealing, but that's going to take years. And that's where we leave this documentary. And it was not good.
I have a
Not
question
good.
for you.
Yeah.
What did you think about the assistant state attorney saying we were worried about how the jurors were going to perceive Christine leaving the bar with him overnight? That they were basically, she was worried about them slut shaming her.
I mean, I think that's very common. And I totally get that. I totally get that. But have we moved past that as a society?
I would have thought we did. Interestingly enough, when
Thought
I
we
was in law
did.
school, Roy Black taught a seminar. I went to University of Miami, and he taught a
Mhm.
seminar that you were guaranteed to pass. It was
Mhm.
just basically he would come in and
Yeah.
talk about stuff, and you just had to go. And then he gave you one part of the trial to do. So if you did like an opening statement in September, you were done. Like you
Yeah.
didn't have to do anything the rest of the class.
Yeah.
So that was the time he was coming off of the William Kennedy Smith trial.
Oh, okay.
And he was telling us all about it, and we were all just enthralled with the whole thing. And so he was saying that the way that they picked the jury was, the common thought would be, oh, you're going to pick people that are Kennedy supporters or that are liberals and that are going to
Mhm.
be on his side. But what they did was, apparently the woman who accused him, she went out that night with a matching bra and panty set. And
Mhm.
her bra was very delicate with lace and had a very delicate like flower in the cleavage.
Mhm.
And that's what she was wearing. And there was pictures of that. And none of it was messed up as if he had torn it. But what they did was they slut shamed her when they picked the jury because they wanted people that would find fault with her for leaving the bar with him.
Oh my God.
And he told us that. And then you think like, well, this is why you're in this, like, this is why
Yeah.
you're one of the best criminal defense attorneys
Yeah.
ever, because
Yeah.
you're thinking, well, I thought I want to pick people that are liberal and like the Kennedys. And they picked people that were conservative and that would judge this woman for going home with him.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
but that was in 1980. I was like
Right.
91.
Right.
And here we are in 2024 when this was going on. And she still is saying we were worried that people were going to judge her.
Well, and I appreciated Christine's best friend, Stephanie, on the stand,
Yes.
because they were like,
But when she
they
said, look
kind of
at her,
they
when she
kind of
made him look at the
yeah,
picture.
and they kind of tried to make her feel guilty about it, because they're like, was she scared of him? And she goes, I never would have left her if she was scared. Like,
Yeah.
you're not putting this on me. Do you
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
Wade did this. This
Yes.
isn't I should be able to leave my friend alone with a guy.
Right.
And not have her end up murdered.
And my friend should be able to have a one-night stand.
Yes.
And not get murdered.
Yes, exactly. No, I thought the women who testified in this case were great.
Yeah.
The women who were in as I call them, the bleachers,
Wade's wives or whatever.
they were not so great. Hopefully they've learned from this. Hopefully we can all move forward and get that Kohl's campaign going. I'm just trying to think of something not political.
Something
Can we all agree on Kohl's?
Yeah.
If I told you what I really wanted you to start writing about, everyone would shut it off. So let's just go with Kohl's and using the coupons. Okay. All right, guys.
Me on that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I do have to say this only gets like a 1 on the Bob Durst scale. I did not like this documentary for many reasons. I just thought the narrative was all over the fucking place. It was so disorganized. The music was terrible. Production quality wasn't great. I think there is a story to tell here, but it wasn't told.
I agree with you.
And that's unfortunate. All right, Karen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Guys,
I had a great time as always.
Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support. If you want to hear more content, we're doing Femme Fatale February. And we're very excited. And that starts next week. And you can join Murder Club, which is our Patreon, by clicking the link in the show notes or just clicking subscribe on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Well, you're listening on Apple, obviously. All right, Karen, thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.